Greetings. My name is Dave Bianchi. I am a web manager here in Santa Clarita, California, and a longtime member of the Santa Clarita WordPress Meetup group. This is the 3 p.m. talk with Joseph Dickson in the Colossus track. Joseph Dickson is a web developer in higher education and an advocate of using WordPress core features to create flexible and manageable websites. Today, Joseph will be presenting creating a portfolio website with custom post types. Feel free to add your questions to the YouTube chat feed and we'll answer those at the end. And now please welcome to the virtual stage, Joseph.
Welcome, everyone. Today I'll be presenting on creating a portfolio website with custom post types. My name is Joseph Dickson, and you can find me at the two websites listed here on the slides. The slides are also available at the URL in the video. And you can find me as well as on Twitter at Joe4Scott. So let's get started. So a custom post type is basically a creation of your own post or page in WordPress that allows you to expand WordPress past the common two that most of us are familiar with. That is pages and posts. There are some others, but I'm going to limit it just to these for those two for this presentation, and then expanding it further for custom post types themselves. So custom post type allows you to create custom pages or posts in WordPress. It really turns WordPress into a full-fledged content management system. So you can expand beyond blog posts and standard pages. So what you might want to do is, for instance, create a personal portfolio, which we'll be doing today. And I'm also going to be showing you guys services pages, which can be useful when expanding a website or building a custom website. So how do custom post types work in WordPress? You know, the best way to explain this is to actually show you. So I have a presentation website I created with the 2021 theme. And if you've seen it before, you're probably familiar with this default homepage when there's a new install. So let's go ahead and take a look. So custom post types are essentially additional post types that are added to your dashboard that users can interact with in different ways. So, for instance, we have a portfolio that I'll be showing you that I've created, and services post types. And the one advantage of having custom post types is that you can create more while keeping the standard WordPress workflow in place and not having to retrain your clients. Like some plugins might have their own interfaces. This is a purely WordPress standard interface. So that's in a nutshell what it is and the advantages. So there's two ways you can create a custom post type. You create your own plugin, which I'll be showing you, and let's see here. Rather than give you guys an image, I'm going to show you a file of it. So this is a sample of a PHP file that is effectively a plugin that I created for the purpose of the portfolio custom post type that you saw just briefly. Let me close this file really quick and show you what that actually looks like in the file directory. So if you're familiar with WordPress development, you know that the WP content folder holds all the custom stuff that someone might have on their website. Let me back out a few levels. So we've got our plugin, our themes, and our uploads folders. You can see I've got a couple other plugins there as well. Let's go back into the plugins folder. And so I've got two post types that I've created, this portfolio custom post type and the services custom post type. So we're going to take a look again at the portfolio custom post type, and it's just simply that one index page. All right. Okay, so creating a portfolio post type is pretty simple, and so I'm going to give you guys a line-by-line example of what everything in this file is effectively telling WordPress to do, and the rationale behind it. So the first three items in the labels array within the plugin itself is the name. So we're creating a portfolio post type, so naturally we'll want to name it portfolio. And so it gives us a few options on how to label everything: the singular name, the menu name. And these are just basically different labels. So we've got the general name, the name for the post type, and the label for the menu. These are all different areas within WordPress where you can kind of like adjust it for use. So we've got, like, for instance, the name in the admin bar. So, whoops, wrong page. So if we were to go to, for instance, let's go into one of these posts. It'll say edit portfolio post. Whoops. View portfolio post. Those are different types of labels within the system. So we have the name for the admin bar and the add new label. So an example of where that add new label is being used would be over we go over to portfolio, add new portfolio, add a portfolio post is the custom label I created there. We go back here, add a portfolio post, and then there's add new item. That would be in the admin top bar. So as an example, take a look over here. If we were to go to our admin bar, we can give it a simple name of portfolio. So this is a big old mix of labels that WordPress uses. And different labels for the bars themselves. So we also have the labels for when you're editing the item. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what that is. So normally we'd have something like edit page for a standard page. But this would be edit portfolio post in this example. Go back to here. And then view item would be the view portfolio post in the bar. If we were to edit it, it would pop up right up here, view portfolio post. Back one. A label for viewing all items. So that an example of that would be This one right here, all portfolio posts, is that view all items. And then the search items would be if we were to search, this is the little search button right here. So search portfolio posts. So you get the idea. There's different labels for all the standard dashboard, admin, and menu panels that go into a post, or in this case, a custom post type. This would be a parent item : is if you're doing a page that has a page hierarchy, that would give you the label for the parent page. Not found and not found in trash would be labels for when we can't find something in the trash, or if there's literally no portfolio. So it doesn't look like we have anything in the trash right now. Let me just create something really quick and then trash it, just as an example. Save that, go over here, move it to trash. So if I was to do, say, for instance, search for stuff, it's telling me that it's not found in the trash. Pretty cool. Okay, let's delete the trash. So as you can see, it works like a standard poster page from the dashboard side of things. So when we move down to another portion of the plugin example, we've got the arguments. This is how it communicates with WordPress for the functionality of the custom post type. So this is the label. This is the area right here at the from line 39 to 54 that we're going to go through really quick. So we've got the labels that we just went through. It is created into an array. And then we have public. So a lot of these are true and false answers. So public is whether or not it's publicly visible on the front end. You can make things visible when you're logged in private. So if you were to set this to false on both public and publicly queryable, you could say, for instance, create a very simple post type plugin for taking notes or something. And then show in UI. This is whether or not you want to show it in the user admin interface. Generally, that would be the answer to that would be yes, or else you wouldn't be able to interface with it unless you were going through it as a developer and you wanted to hide it from the dashboard for, say, a client, and then you would go in and change the plugin later on so that you could interface with it maybe when you're doing some maintenance. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of ways that this can be useful in some or in part by mixing some of these values. Show in menu would be navigation menus. So that would be like the whether or not you could see it in navigation. And I believe I can show you an example on this plugin because I think I had that option available. Should be possible to see it over here. Well, you know what? I think I didn't set that up quite right. So let's call a mulligan there. So as it turns out, the menu system is actually the menu system itself. So as an example, let's go over to look at a portfolio post a little early here. If we go into the back, it's referring to menu systems like this one. So show in menu will allow its visibility within navigational menus that are dynamically created. And menu icon is referring to the dashboard icon, the dash icons that WordPress uses, or a custom graphic. So in this case, I'm using the dash icons. So if we go over here, Portfolio is using a double image icon, and Services pages will be using this little page icon. Query var will allow you to do variations of the slug if desired. And rewrite is for handling of rewrites when you activate and deactivate the plugin, or if you change your permalink structure, it permits it to make those changes within WordPress. The capability type is basically kind of like the template that it's based off of. So a post would be something containing, say, for instance, categories, tags, and a page would be evergreen pages, standard non-dated content, or page hierarchy. Has archive would be like a post-like structure. So if you created something that had so it'd be basically like a category. So let's see. Probably show an example of that. So an example of that would be, for instance, if we go to the root of the portfolio's custom post type, we have an archive essentially. And as we scroll through this, we would see the multiple posts based on the theme structure. And then the hierarchical is, the parent-child relationship of pages. And the show in REST is effectively the setting so that you could see it in the REST API. So as an example, I have this set to true. If I change it to false, save the file, and reactivate my plugin, should only pull up a player. So I'm able to see it now. Whoop. Actually, this it actually worked automatically. So by changing it to false, I got rid of the block editor. So if I go back and change that back to true, whoops. Reload this page, you'll see the block editor will appear instead. So this can come in handy if you find that the block editor's layout might get in the way of maybe the kind of setup you're trying to do for a particular post type. One of the really cool features in custom post types is you can add and remove certain functionality. For instance, if you don't want a featured image, you could actually get rid of that. So let's see. Right here, we have this support item. If we get rid of thumbnail just completely, and then reload this, it should disappear. Which can be very useful if you're using a custom post type where you don't want to post thumbnail and you want to limit the amount of information that your user would be importing for the post. Maybe it's just a simple, directory of people's names, but there won't be any images. There would be no need for the post thumbnail. So let's go ahead and restore that really quick. And before I get ahead of myself, let's look at a couple more fields. So when I mentioned earlier the supports structure, I was referring to the title, the editor, the author, the thumbnail, the excerpt, you'll notice that many of these features were not activated within the portfolio section. So there would be no data being sent over to those. So let's say, for instance, I don't have revisions set up, which is something you might want if you see yourself maybe wanting to restore a previous version. With revisions turned off, that is not possible now. Out of curiosity, I'm wondering if I add revisions after the fact, if it will actually function as expected. So let's take a look. All right, let's change this really quick and see if the revision shows up. All right, well, I'm not seeing it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Let's change it back, because okay, so we go ahead and change that back, and let's move on. This is actually a pretty cool feature and reference point. The menu position allows you to determine where within the menu structure this will show up. So if you want to show up above posts, you would use number 1 through 4. Now, I don't know what happens if multiple items within your navigation admin panel have the same number, but my guess is that it defaults to alphabetical order at that point. So if I wanted to move portfolio up to above posts, I could change that to 4. Let's take a look at this. Refresh here. So, all right, well, it's still right below posts, but it did move upward. Let me try. If I go to 1, it should allow me to. Right. Something tells me that it might not. Okay, yeah. So by going up higher, I actually moved it above the dashboard. So if it's a very important custom post type, that it's even more important than your dashboard and your posts, you can change the order. Now, I think I had it at 21 so that it would appear right below a particular spot, below pages. So, I mean, this is just my opinion. Is somewhere between 20 and 25 is probably the sweet spot for content. But if you're doing like support items, maybe dropping it below comments would be more suitable for your post type. Let's see here. Of course, this is the nice thing about custom post types is you have the ability to change that as you see fit. So the last part of this plugin is the registration of post type. So without getting too specific, what we're doing is we're registering the name portfolio so that WordPress will recognize that as the slug. And then further along, we're setting it up in the init process so that it runs when the WordPress page loads. And then we create this function that will do these rewrite tools for when the plugin is activated, deactivated, or permalinks is set up. So oftentimes, if you have multiple post types, for instance, on this website, you will want to use unique function names, or else there will be a conflict, and it will probably result in an error otherwise. So let me go back one. So you'll see that there's a little bit of some differences between the two. Okay, so that's the service. Let me close this right because I don't want. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. It's my terminal is running this the camera you see right here. So that's what that mess of code was. Okay. So the services post type, which I mentioned a moment ago, is basically the same, but it's based off of pages. Before we get to this part of the presentation, I think it's probably better to actually talk about building of a portfolio using custom post types instead of just using standard posts and pages. So right up front, okay, so this is the default setup for the 2021 theme. Let's go ahead and take a look at changing some of the settings here. Actually, wait, I'm wrong panel. Let's go over to settings and set up a traditional blog style setup. So what I did prior to this was I imported a bunch of random pages and content from my personal blog as an example of the advantages of keeping portfolio content separate from blog posts and the random asides that I would normally post on my blog. But the theory being that if you're providing your portfolio to people, they could also say, for instance, get a sense of you as an individual and look at your blog as well. And let's be honest, when people are looking people up for work and jobs, they're going to Google you anyway. So keep everything in one place and make it useful. So that was a random opinion. Let me change the reading structure to this. So just make it a regular blog style layout and show this as an example. So here's the default setting I have set up. You can see that there's no featured images here as this is set up. But if I was to say go into one of my blog posts, you'd see a standard blog post here. And the advantage is that the portfolio blog posts would be a little bit different. So you could go in and say, for instance, build a menu about yourself. And let's change the default menu to this one here. And then we're going to add some custom links. So let me see. I don't want to do. Actually, would want to do. Let me see. Sorry, loud. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to add a link to our artist portfolio. We would simply put that URL over here and link to it manually and add it to our menu. Save that. look at our home page, and here we have our portfolio. And naturally, if we wanted to, we can link to individual posts if we wanted to. And then we could also take advantage of whatever our theme setup is for post navigation. It will default to those elements. And the idea being that your portfolio bits will be your portfolio posts will be separate from your blog posts, which, as an example, would be this thread of a randomness you see before you right here, would not be part of the portfolio itself. So since I only have the 3 posts, let me change some settings and see if it uses the same navigation, because it should. And that's really the advantages, that you can go in and change the settings, and it should be global across different types of pages. So this one should only show 2 of them, and then the older post will be here. Yeah, looks like I don't have a featured image here, so that didn't show up as the other 2 did. And because I didn't write any text in either of these posts. I took all the images from Unsplash, so these are free to use, but not my original. Okay. So likewise with the portfolio posts, we've got these services pages, and the nice thing about creating a series of pages that are under its own slug is that you've got this custom slug that shows up here that could be useful for SEO, for instance. That's a really lousy post. I obviously didn't finish writing that. So if you wanted to set up a page for clients that contact you for different types of work, you could do that as well. Now, naturally, because we're using 4 different post types: posts, pages, services, and portfolio, we can go in and create a new homepage, for instance, for our website. And I'll just put my own name here. And we could take advantage of the settings that this theme offers to quickly build a web page. So if we want to, we can go in and edit some of these settings for us. Didn't quite search the way I was expecting. One moment. So if you remember the name of your portfolio post, you can go in here and change the link. And then, well, let's take a look at the post, and we could just copy and paste it. And then simply replace the image. Let's hide this over here. And grab something from, I believe I used this image. That post. Get rid of the caption. And we can go in and go through each and every one and effectively create a new homepage for our website while allowing us to maintain a blog on the side. So if we wanted our portfolio to be front facing, we would simply go in to the settings, and change our home page to a different static page, which would basically make our portfolio the top level items. And then, of course, if we want to, we could just create a link that goes over to our blog. Not sure if that'll work. No, that didn't. I don't think that's a page, but it doesn't contain anything. So if we wanted to go into look at our post, to check some of the tagging. So yeah, we would have like, your typical structure for the post. So I've got the three portfolio items here. I can easily add a headline, for instance. Move this separator down. And then let's get rid of these blocks. Holding down the Shift key does select multiple blocks here. And so it highlights it. And then I could either hit the delete key on my computer or go through the menu system. In this case, I'm going to remove these blocks. And I think maybe I'll edit this separator and maybe make it a thick line. I think, yeah, that's one of the options. So this is the really nice thing about the WordPress block editor is some of the better built themes like, or the more recent themes will have additional styles that you can take advantage of and really design something that might suit you better than what we may have used before. You could also search through the items by typing in a slash and then say, for instance, put a YouTube video up here with the YouTube URL, or go through the search functionality. Let's take another look at one of these examples here that were built into this theme. Oh, that's cool. So we got a contact information block. And so what I find is really useful is that I actually do something similar on one of my side projects where I created a reusable block that I sometimes pull into different pages, although this is a pattern, so you can go in and change or remove the different items. So for instance, I don't have a Facebook account, so I could simply remove that one there and change those around. What's really nice about this is you end up with a custom homepage that might be useful for your portfolio if you want to set your best foot forward. And then why not stop there? Let's go ahead and add some services to this page. So let's go right about here. Actually, let's create a paragraph here. So we're going to actually change that out. I want to see if there's a pattern here for something larger. Oh yeah, this could be useful. So let's say we're wanting to promote our photography business. We can go in, change the image, change the default text, laugh about my pen typing. And for this, update the page, and then send them off to our services page for product photography. So this is all with custom post types, but also with the 2021 theme itself. Let's say this olive light greenish color doesn't work for maybe our artwork. We could change the settings over here in Customizer. So let's change that out to just a simple white background would be nice. And then let's give everyone a dark mode option. We've got ourselves our portfolio and our services. I would probably want to put a little headline there to add services I provide. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, we could always duplicate this, assuming that we like this layout, and maybe make some adjustments to what it provides. So get rid of this blank block that doesn't need to be there and replace the image with something from our architecture page. It's a little bit shallow, so let's get rid of that. With any luck, it'll probably yeah, it's pretty well actually. So we could just go in through and do that. And the nice thing is, by using the custom post type, we have the ability to use the default settings that we have available in WordPress without having to add any additional themes, and we can or plugins. Of course, we're creating our own plugin, but we're being able to take advantage of a lot of the default settings. All right. Let's see. Let me look and see if I'm missing anything. Oh, that was actually the end of the presentation. Thanks for taking the time to watch. And if you have any questions, you could find me at my website. One moment. Go ahead and drop me a comment over here or on Twitter. And thanks for taking the time to watch. Hey, David.
Hello, Joseph. That was a very good presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'll be impressed if anyone lasted to the end.
So this is the Q&A portion. As a reminder, if you have any questions for Joseph, to place it into the YouTube chat and he will answer it. And I think we have our first questions. When would you say that a common post or page won't cut it? When would you say that a custom post type or custom page type is necessary?
So there's this one project I have for a homepage that uses a carousel, an image carousel that has text on the image. And as we know, text on an image can't be read by a screen reader, but I used a custom post type to create a carousel post. And that allowed me to overlay the text over the image itself and make it accessible for people with screen readers. So that's like the perfect example of doing something a little bit unusual. That's a lot more advanced than what I showed in the presentation.
Next question is, are there any downsides of using a plugin to generate custom post types instead of coding your own like you showed?
The only downside is that if you're using it on a website you'll be using for several years, you'll be relying on the developers of that plugin to continue maintaining the plugin into the future. So my advice would be to try to learn to do it the hard way if you're not scared of PHP and code. And that way, if the plugin you prefer to use, they stop developing it, you can, resurrect some of your past work from that plugin.
Next question. Do you know if it's possible to disable or hide a default post type? My sites always use custom post types, but almost never use the default post. It'd be so much cleaner for the end user if post wasn't there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have a website where it kind of gets in the way, where they don't have a blog. So why allow somebody to look at posts if all you're working with is pages? I have not figured out a way to do it myself. I have a feeling there's probably a couple plugins in the plugin directory that might offer that functionality, but I haven't tried any of them myself.
We have someone else saying, I saw the /now page on your website and wondered if you could talk about the difference between /about and /now pages.
Okay. The let's see. The now page was inspired by, I think the web address is nownow.com, where you're supposed to update it every day with what you've been doing. So it's kind of like your own microblog that people could check every so often. The about page is basically my online resume. I don't like getting spammed by LinkedIn personally, so I just keep everything on my own website.
Could a user type be assigned /limited to a post type?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Could a user type be assigned /limited to a post type?
I believe so. I'm almost 100% sure you can limit it to, like, say, admin if you wanted to. I just haven't done that myself. So if somebody had editor access or above, they would have been able to use those posts in my example.
While we're waiting for any additional questions, did you have any additional thoughts or ideas that you want to share with us?
Nah, thanks for making it to the end of the day. I think we have some after show programming.
Yes, we do indeed. In fact, right after this is going to be the closing remarks by Sumner Davenport, and you'll get a preview of tomorrow's equally amazing rounds of talks. And this will be over in the Sky Tower channel starting at 4 o'clock.
Oh, cool. I can't wait. I'll see you guys all there.
All right. Take care.